How's your spirit? Just a second. Let me make sure that whatever's behind me is not going to fall off as I slide back because I may decide to unpack my bag and play some music, but we'll see. Right now, I just need to get something off my chest because I just noticed the date in relationship to me. Okay, today is January 30th. Father, who was a Scientologist, told me that my mother was a birthday gift to him, and I'm the surprise present, which means that if I was born on September 30th, 1975, then 9 months to 10 months prior to that, I was conceived. You see, so here I be inside of the womb of the 9 months in which I was at the beginning of it. Okay, right. So I want to explain some things, and so we're gonna talk about this. Uh, I just realized, pardon me for just 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna leave it the way that it is because it's gonna make beautiful sense. This is like music. Okay. It says shelter, shelter. It is supposed to say helter skelter. Here's why. When I was a very small child, I was not small in comparison to how old I am now. Yeah, but anyway, 10 years old, I watched the movie Helter Skelter. That's the story of Charles Manson and the family attempting to set up Black Americans for the murder of rich white people, the Tates and someone else. Now, do you get it? Okay, now keep up with me. The family still exists. A lot of them went to prison, and well, I don't believe that their populace was really separated from other occult groups just from each other, right? So you just slide a kite from coast to coast to coast till you get, and y'all can still dominate behind the scenes to create anything you want to and get it out on the mainstream, right? Okay, that's the family. Then you got 222 on the clock. That's got the Church of Scientology. Well, Scientology holds people hostage inside of their buildings and at their base globe, from what I understand. Possibly even the galaxy, because they got a Sea Org and they have their version of a military. I don't know how far it goes, but what I want to say is they've infiltrated the United States military. Now, what also has happened is the Church of Scientology and the Nation of Islam have come together publicly. It's my belief that they were always working private behind the scenes, that the Nation of Islam was the black arm of the Nation of Scientology. Because Scientologists believed in a master race, and they were playing the odds for just in case such a being as me existed, who would show up with clairvoyant gifts and be able to prove what they have been saying is true, at least about you being able to clear yourself of negative displaced energy, right? The problem is they say you have to go through a negative experience, and that is not true. You're not letting nobody beat on you. You don't ever have to experience the things that we went through. We know this to be true by children born behind the veil. Those children who were born in their amniotic sac and also in water to some degree have a different experience in life. It's because they've never been traumatized by the bright lights and all of the stuff that goes on during childbirth. It's only afterwards when they've experienced that and then they're shook up a bit. If we never shake up our children in that way, right? Which is possibly why we lived in caves for so long, right? We allowed our children to adapt to the environment of darkness so they wouldn't be afraid of it. So they went out into the light and they wouldn't be afraid of it. We had to give them these understandings over time. And 404 on the clock, man has since lost that understanding. So it took someone out of hiding of cult childhood experiences to tell the truth. I got the privilege of going to school because we were attached to the actual United States military. Uh, where the rest of this takes off. And respectfully, it's not even so much that they were infiltrated, it's just that there are groups inside the United States military that come together that have similar understandings of the Church of Scientology, and where they all get to rocking and talking about metaphysics. Now, do you get it? This is 444 on the clock, some absolute next level shit that unless you know physics, you don't understand it. And unless you know a lot about quantum physics, you really shouldn't be fucking around in metaphysical shit. That's why I say laws need to exist. and why I'm still being stalked by the Church of Scientology. They thought that it would all blow over once the Jenny Masterson shit hit, right? Okay, we've taken down enough celebrities inside that people won't notice, right? Okay, we cool, we cool. But then Donald Trump, he decides that he wants to sue the IRS, which is he wants to sue the American people to pay him basically for not doing his job. You got me all the way messed up. Scientology doesn't pay taxes because they're considered a church. So the way that he can get his money back from Scientology is to sue IRS. Because the IRS is scary. They're afraid of Scientology. That's why he's attacking the IRS. Now, do you get it? But it's because all of it's the same shit. Jews have an arm, 555, called Kabbalah. Kabbalah, they practice gematria. This is numerology. The Nation of Islam practices a similar numerology, and then you have the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth, and we do something close but not the same thing. The last one, the one that I'm related to, that the government said is a gang because we'll give the information freely. We won't make you pay for it. It's called the Poor Righteous Teachers. Poor reasons. I may have gone to college, but I went to college in a way that I actually ended up not paying for it. And when all of this comes out, the government won't pay for it neither. I don't believe in paying for an education. But sometimes you have to go through it to speak to it so that other people don't have to do it. Make sense? Cool beans. I know there's this thing out there talking about, oh, speak eloquently. You know what? That is wasting time. You hear me, you understand me. You get tired of hearing me say you understand or whatever it is, move to another channel, do something else. Replace it in your head with a different word, 6:54 on the clock, so you can stop bothering me about how I speak. I'm here to move things along in this country, not to be the homie. I mean, it's cool to be the homie. I appreciate that. It's just when you look at it, as much as I would love to be a president who can be around here with all the people, you all have let me be a human being. Give me time off the clock, right? How do we rest and recuperate? I'm talking about anybody who's trying to lead a group of people in the right direction. What do Americans want their president to do if not to lead them towards the future? Maybe you need to ask yourselves that. Because you'll be real mad about us asking you to do something. Give back, stop getting in the way, help us figure out what you really want from your political people. Okay, you don't want a tyrannical dictator. You don't want someone who is going to use your money as a weapon. We get that. What do you want? Hmm? You see what I'm saying? So you elect someone who seems to have a vision and to know where they're going. The thing is, you have to then trust them. That you did here was you trusted someone who has shown bad financial wisdom. Okay, America is a business because we have allowed it to become. We've been bought and sold more than a roll of toilet paper in prison. I don't know, whatever. Point being, America is capable of doing differently. I was on my way to get some coffee and a cigar. And thank you for that, young lady. Um, and I realized what my gripe is. These people don't know who they are. I am in a city full of indigenous heritage and nothing but a bunch of natives. And they refuse to be native to Tucson because they're up on their own city. Their young ones are so ready to leave, their older ones are dying off, and the ones in the middle are just panicking. They want to be able to show something so that they don't go by the wayside. Thing is, they chose to pick a fight and leave me outside. They chose to steal from me and leave me outside. That was a really bad decision. and then they let me die outside. There's nothing I can do to protect them from that. Uh, last winter, one of my favorite older ladies went missing. Her name is Brenda Gomez. She's from Louisiana, not Marana. I haven't seen her in a while. That's because I don't go over to the south side. She's a brave lady. Yet she's told me a lot of things about this city that other people have shared with me also, which is how I know I'm not just listening to the musings of someone who is whatever. So anyway, um, that's how I get to the point where I am today, where I've decided that fuck what's going on. If they're not gonna take care of me, I'm gonna keep doing my job, which is leading people to safety from slavery, sexual slavery, 1111 on the clock, financial slavery, whatever it is. It's pretty much all the same bucket. It's all the same people sucking off the energy of 85% of the people who are unaware. That's what it means to be a 5%er and or a poor righteous teacher. For this moment in clarity, the things that I said about my associate's husband, boyfriend, I used his name, J.C. Stamen. My ex-husband's name is Hilda Second. He works for VetSec. Recently, I posted on Facebook how abusive he was throughout our marriage and financially since then. The reason that I'm homeless is because my ex-husband manipulated our divorce case in Fulton County, where they just went over looking for election shit. 1222, I think that the president just thought he was going to find in there something that he could use against me or some other political arm of the government. And these cults and shit. Like I said, it's all been infiltrated. Anyway, that brings me to the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Gods and Earth is an offshoot of the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam has often, for a very long time now, protected our celebrities, Michael Jackson being one of them. You see how this all of a sudden makes you look at old cold cases and they don't want to do that shit, especially not at that level. Because I said before, the Nation of Islam is the black arm of Scientology. Maybe even a security arm. Otherwise, MedSec was built so that veterans could, you know, have a job. People leave veterans out. And I'm not here to vilify veterans. Just because my veteran was a piece of shit doesn't make all of them bad. At the same time, we need to start to understand that PTSD is fucking real. When a spouse tells you that someone has gone through there, you need to listen. You need to know the metrics so you don't have to listen to the spouse. When they come home, you give them a debriefing. And you need to deal with the spouses and the families. Because we go through deployment too. We serve this country and y'all don't say shit. Y'all treat us like we don't fucking exist. So when I end up in a homeless shelter in Tucson, I go to that shelter. Shelter ain't nothing but a helter skelter. Called Allocated Alcatraz, honey. But here in Tucson, it's called OPCS. It's called Sister Jose. It's called the Gospel Rescue Mission. Pretty much every shelter in the city. You're told when to go to bed, when to get up, when to eat, what you must do, how you must move. That's prison shit. All because I was diagnosed with the mental illness they say I had. I never said I fucking had, but I sure had it made sure I cleaned it all the way up so I wouldn't have to worry about that shit. See how there's a magical helicopter showing up? Government doesn't want y'all to know what it is. Shit, they're pretty much just finding it out some fucking selves. We'll wait. Sound carries, ladies and gentlemen. This is known as frequency disturbance. They want to make sure you can't hear me at fucking all. That's the final call. Them bitches should have come and taken care of me a long time ago. Just so you know, Scientology and the Nation of Islam believe in a mothership. 1555 on the motherfucking clock. That's who does too. I believe in my ancestors, the Anunnaki. I read my Bible through and through, and the Quran also. I know things that y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. I know things that y'all don't know. So fuck you. If you don't bring me inside, you're gonna die. I'm gonna let that shit go, cause well, fuck you. You know how that works. I was taken to the United States military. I can create my own cadence in 15 minutes. It's some really dark shit. But they tell me about that type of shit all the fucking time. Jody was a bitch. Jody was a bitch. I can do this all night. I still love helicopters and planes and trains and automobiles. Well, I kind of, feel like the president can be alright if he wouldn't have this bullshit. But the Scientologists believe in eugenics. So the question becomes, does the president believe in eugenics or did they just pimp him for his name, his money, his fame? Get close enough to get inside and wreck shop. Get up underneath Doge, do whatever they could there to. You see what I'm saying? They're spiritual technologists. They want access to the DMT. They're trying to use me to get to you, to get through, to get to me, to get access to the DMT. They've systems that their chickens are coming home to. That's all this is. Scientology. Right. Ologies are otherwise medical practices, yes? Urology, uh, well, that's different. So you got urology, you've got gastrology, you've got, I'm going with this, Scientology. The science of the human body meets medical theory meets the DMT, you get me. And they're going nuts. They're upset. They don't know what man scared. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. I haven't done anything to my planet and my countrymen. They've done this to themselves by way of not caring about the world around them, by not believing in natural healing, by vilifying it for the last century at a minimum, at least since the Salem witch trial. You've also got the native and or indigenous populations who've been practicing up through the years. They vilified everything that they did. That's why they put them on reservations. Yeah, you can do that shit over there. You can't do it out here and infect our people, you savages, pagans. All the while, they're the true pagans. These people who believe in flesh of my flesh and blood of my blood. We don't commit that type of sin. Eating the flesh of humans, eating the flesh of carrion, eating the flesh of certain shit. That's a blood sacrifice. That's a ritual. Uh, what I do is a memory. That's why these people keep trying to vilify me. You've seen me on camera. You've seen me in person. Uh, it's when a song like Gangsterling comes on. I sing, I cry, smoke a little bit of weed or whatever I'm drinking. I smoke a little bit of weed and a cigar. That's me saying thank you for being a part of my world, so to speak, for allowing me to take up space in the spirit while I roam around down here, for not body jumping me when I'm alone in the dark. Because a lot that's when people not even alone in the dark. When you sit in the shade, you can be body jumped if you are not of sound mind and body. That's why we have these laws where you have to be of sound mind and body to do something, to marry, to sign a document, whatever it is. And that's how you get to the last bit of this, which is the guardianship. So when I went missing and when I died, that was an opportunity for members to get a guardianship over me. They knew that I was sick. They knew that I was incapacitated. For the most part, because we need to talk about it, that just means that I wasn't able to go out and get the things that I needed on my own. I was homebound, but not bedbound. My mother was bedbound with her cancer. So they got guardianship over my mother. My mother passes away and her insurance is paid out. They have control of that money. So on and so forth. Just you keeping up with me. So that's it. And I just exposed that I'm related to Ken Paxton, who lives in Texas and is the attorney. That's a possibility. It's either Ken or it's Bill or it's both. And it could be a no, in which case that means that their family owned my family, which kind of talks about some other shit that we need to talk about in this country. Now, do you get it? Coming up on 22, 22. There we go. Because it's time for us to move forward. Here's the thing about the country. And you're right. No one paid reparations for what their grandparents did. What my siblings or family members in the Paxton line are paying for is living off of that legacy. That's the blood money, that's the sacrifice, that's the religion, the religion that you are committing the same sin, the sins of the father. That's why I said what I said about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. You don't have to pay for your father's sins. You do have to pay for the fact that you benefited off of them. And if you don't turn yourselves around, especially in light of the fact at least one of you all's websites, programs, platforms allowed people to sell other human beings, it makes you look like a slave trader in 2020 at the height of COVID. You waited for people to die, you stole their identities, and you sold them into slavery so that they could not ever get out of this cycle of slavery. Google helped you do it with the Mormons by reverse baptizing people. That's how you get bodies or spirits bound to this planet that's been gone from here. You pull on them, you use them to reincarnate. You pray over their faces until you begin to look like Basquiat and Marilyn Monroe and all of the others, whomever your idol is. And you turn them into an icon, a god, otherwise. Then their spirit has to go through this weird ass ID crisis. But they're like, wait the damn minute, I ain't trying to be nobody's in. Because God said there's one God. You said there are multiple gods. So God said there will be a side, there will be a me. And we're going to agree to hey motherfuckers start acting up and making other deities out here. And you make gods out of men, out of mortals. You have trusted them and their machines more than yourself and your thought process and the Most High God. How disrespectful can you fucking be? You want to blame me for the calamity that's going around this damn country, galaxy, globe. You got me fucked up. All I did was the next galaxy know, hey yo, some shit's about to shift. Some humans is up to it. That's the beauty of believing in reincarnation and having more than the faith of a mustard seed, but being willing to drop a kernel everywhere I fucking go. So when it's time to start reaping what I sow, I got plenty of reapers lined up around the goddamn globe, ready to handle business. You keep coming for me, you hear it? That's just play in me. I am Muhammad Ali. You understand me? I am jerk. You come for me one more time, Jay, passing up this bitch. And I'm telling you, people will start dropping receipts like you ain't never seen. You think them Epstein files or something. You still haven't seen the back room and bottom basement of you motherfuckers' lives. You'll be turned inside out like a human. You know, 25, 55. That's what you tried to do to me. It wasn't good enough to crucify me. You tried to flay me, open me up, and spill out my motherfucking guts. Now I'm spilling my guts, and you bitches are stuck. Not only did you lie on my name, but you copied me, you stole from me, you attempted to purge me of the still system and steal my intellectual property. See me now? Ain't no point in moving around. Your asses are bound to this shit. Bound until the end of what you call eternity. You're an eternalist. I'm an immortalist. I don't mind going back up there and spending time with God until it's time to come back here and enjoy my peace and walk the streets that you think are paved with. Everybody gets their version of the afterlife. You hear it? Prince. Let's hear that one thing. The afterlife. When you call up that space in Beverly Hills and Dr. Everything's gonna be alright. I wonder how much of your time is left. Oh shit, about this life, you're on your own. Boom, 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 boom. And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. Punch a higher floor. Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. The purple banana till they fall. Let's go. Come on, baby. Let's get nuts. Yeah. Hold on. Let me get connected to this internet real quick, and we are going to listen to it because I'm just a fan, and I can't do that man justice like that. But this song, in this moment, it deserves to be played. Prince was prophetic. 1999, all this other stuff, and they killed him. They killed Michael too. They're trying to kill me. It's up to humanity to do the right thing. Even if our president comes up off of it, right? And he says, yep, that black Jesus, he has to protect me from the Pharisees overseas. She is what she says she is. And it's gonna piss you off so fucking bad. Do you know who brought it to the world's attention that Jesus had risen? Vladimir Putin. And I can't make it up. Yep. He came out and he showed all that stuff and he was like, look, Jesus is black, and then the Vatican was like, well, time to pop that cork. And they went on the hunt for black Jesus, and then I popped up. But I was already here. I died February 2nd, 2022. Y'all are just late to the party by 4 years almost. While Jesus was out here ministering to the people, right? And then all of a sudden, here come the Pharisees talking about that's not like Jesus. We're not doing it. Blasphemer, blasphemer, blasphemer. And then I get nailed to the cross. So you got a job to do. You can not have me arrested and brought up on charges for telling the truth about who I am. And then we're gonna go through the Miracle on 34th Street shit, and I'm gonna have to show you true view, but I'm not gonna do that dumb shit where you think I'm gonna like show you a miracle. I'm gonna prove to you all of the miracles in my past, which by the way, the Vatican should have already done that. Because when someone says that they've seen a miracle or the Vatican gets interested. So anyway, let's get back to what I was doing. Listening. And recently, I was just doing this, playing music with my cute little community, having a good time. And then people started attacking us. Them for sending me contributions by way of other means than YouTube or Facebook. My apologies. That is the child version of some stuff that I did not want to hear. And my finger just keep touching that little baby button, and I didn't mean it. Here we go. See the difference? Here it is. All right. Yeah. Can you hear it? I hope you can hear it. Yes, that's right. Okay. All right. Okay, how much in your mind is left? Hey, it's so much harder than it. This life, you're on your own. And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. Punch your highest floor. It's still life. We're living in. At least you got friends. So come on, ladies. For friendly words. Got it on the floor. It's all I heard. I'm not gonna let the elevator break us down. Oh no, let's go. Okay? This goes from there to write slave on his face because he's a slave to the. Something he meant to do. Sold his masters, but see, Otis Redding told us not to. Uh-oh, I think I must have had a signal drop for a second. So anyway, Prince said he was a slave to the industry. Had already given us the formula for how to move. You understand? So anyway, artists are out here and inadvertently or unknowingly selling their souls to Scientology, and, and it's being puppet masters. It's being steered. That's why you see glitches in people. You sign a 360 deal. You have signed over your likeness, your image, your everything about you. That's your debt too, technically. That's why they own you, and they can do whatever they want. And in so doing, they can manipulate you into being Manchurian like, if not an actual Manchurian candidate. Now, do you get it? It's hard to prove your innocence. Mm. And one said that the only way for the president to prove his innocence was to prove my innocence. 3 on the clock. You now know that I am innocent. People were trying to convict me of selling drugs, of drug trafficking, because I want to start a dispensary. I'm a black woman. Do you know how much money that is? I'm a Paxton. You know how much money is owed to me? Do you know that the abuse charges against the Church of Scientology and the Nation of Islam make me rich even though I might be impoverished or homeless at the moment? This is what their intention was. So do you get it? If I really thought the president was going to give me that $10 million, then I would be, hell yeah, let's go to war. But he's not. He's trying to, shore up his pockets because he's unsure of what's next. Because how does this have a ripple effect in everybody else's lives? I can see far ahead and I can tell you a lot of things, but why would I when you continue to leave me outside? That's the Jesus in me. And the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Why the fuck should you be comfortable? But my father told me I was going to go through this because I am someone who believes in transcendence, and he was going to allow me to be Enoch in this lifetime. He said, "All right, you have to go do some shit. What you want?" There wasn't a negotiation. He was like, "I'm telling you, I'm not going to allow you to see certain things
You're going to get your wish to be immortal, so to speak. I said, okay. And at first I was really small, like, because at first it was just, some bullshit. I was like, let me be able to run my nonprofit and $54,000 a year. That's enough for me to cover my expenses and live a comfortable life. God was like, girl, you think it's small. I'll be back later. And he came back and he's like, all right, you've been through some shit. You sure you don't want to, talk about this? I mean, this is your father you're talking to. You can ask me for anything. And I was like, all right, maybe $1 million. You know, that'll work. He was like, well, I'll see you when I see you, right? God comes back around again. He's like, all right, this is the last time. Think big. I was like, cool beans. Remember when I was a little kid and I wanted to be Rogue and Storm and Beast and such and such? I want to be a superhero. I want to own a galaxy. God was like, bet. I was like, oh shit. Now I don't know if Elon overheard that in the hackings or whatnot, or just had a similar idea. The point being, I want to own a galaxy, and he wants to, go to space. Kind of works out great in one way. In another way, it's really kind of fucked up because I can do some shit and think about some things in a way that he can't. But anyway, the point of it being, I was like, yeah, I want a galaxy. Well, when you understand free will and God in the way that I do, then you recognize that God has to have a conversation with the universe. God, born of consciousness, right? wa- was born through the universe into each and every, that's where God resides, in each of the planets, right? God gives man control of Earth, his baby, his beautiful little, I put things here that I'm continuing to work on experiment shit, so to speak, right? And makes man to shepherd it by way of Adam. Adam fucks up, gets mad at Lilith because she's like, all right, well, you're shepherding, I'll be doing this, and we're going to work together and we're going to protect this like God asked us to. Adam's like, didn't I tell you to stay inside and wash them damn dishes, bitch? Lilith's like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. I ain't got time for this dumb shit. Often does her own thing. That's how you end up getting Cain and Eve and the pain because uh, Eve is the forbidden fruit. It's not an apple, it's Eve. She's the original side chick. There's no divorce. In all actuality, where we to really go into it and align ourselves with God and the universe, there's no divorce. That means one of the planets can just decide to leave the galaxy and ain't nobody gonna say shit. It's not gonna disrupt a goddamn thing. That's what it would mean for us to be able to have divorce in the galaxy, the globe, or the world, or the country, or the individuals, right? You blow up some shit every time you leave. That's where we get back to the 5% and understanding that you control your cipher. And after you control your cipher, you master it. You can master the world around you. After you master the world around your cipher, then you can master the world. And once you have mastered God for shit like a galaxy, you see, thank you for rocking with me this evening. I appreciate the company, so to speak. Anyway, hit that like button. Do some of that YouTube and stuff. It helps whatever it does. That's the thing. Like you guys have to understand, it wasn't about making money on YouTube. At least, in order to sustain myself, I started the Buy Me a Coffee and offered people spiritual counsel, and then other people copied me. The lead attorney started a master class on YouTube selling live streaming and how to be a live streamer to other people. He had Abba and Preach behind the scenes in one of the master classes before he shut it off to other people. And that's where I had questions that I asked, right? Then I go on to Kevin Samuels and we have a conversation that's live for everybody to see. Why this is relevant is because white people don't watch black social media. They are now. They didn't. And so they missed when all of this criminal activity was taking place inside of the social media community. And now it's coming out. Mm. And you could say it's coming out because it's not really. These people did these things live on camera. The chickens were always going to come home to roost. It just took time. I want you to remember that we were closed for 2 to 3 years. That means that justice was backed up, and then you had Donald Trump acting up as motherfuckers on camera doing shit. Now you get it? One of his surrogates came for me. His name Anton Daniels. Did Donald Trump know that Anton Daniels was attacking what used to be one of his employees? Donald Trump's kind of like God in this way. He can attack his children. You can't. He can beat up on his employees. You can't. He can fire me. You can't. He can hire me. You can't. That's just how he is. Okay? I'm not one of his children, but I was one of his employees. And I was in good standing when I left. Okay? I had given my report. I had said that these are the things that this country was in danger of by way of the nonprofits that I was experiencing. And that went up the chain. The people in Arizona decided to ignore it. The people on the internet decided to ignore it. And so once it gets to the federal level, baby, it's off to the races. Oh my, coming on up the chain line. Get it? So you have to, everybody in this city, in this state has to explain why it took this long for this information, the government and I, to come together. When I was supposed to be done with this city 1 to 2 years ago, my contract was a year long. It would have been two had I signed up for another year, and I would only done that had I not completed my first year and been in line for a political position. Now, do you get it? So when I come out and I say that I'm going to run for the presidency, they use it to say that I am in the United States. I am not. I'm making clear that I am a contender come 2028 or sooner than that. I could have been in the midterms. I could have been in the last election, which is why the president, Kamala, and some other folks are under judgment at this time. What did you know? What was your involvement? Part of it. The propaganda. You can't have somebody going from the White House and, you know, the media not know about it. You get it? 4222. All of this, and it's because they were arrogant and unwilling to watch black content, but the black content, the black knew to watch. And that's what they get themselves in trouble. Black, uh, what do you call them? Y'all call them celebrities. They be selling y'all lies on TV. See, they took my life and sold it to you. They sold it to you by way of Real Housewives of Atlanta. My ex-husband is from East Point, Georgia. Okay. They took my life and sold it to you by way of Tyler Perry films and that movie, Why Did I Get Married? Jill Scott is me, honey. I love you, Jill. This ain't personal, no shit like that. We just happened to have been the same weight class at the time. We had the same similar interests: music, poetry, fashion for women who were plus size, being exemplar examples of natural black beauty. 4333. They believe that I would rather fight my siblings in indigenousness than admit the truth. They don't want to admit it. That you and I can exist and that not be an issue. That I can meet you somewhere on the street, shake your hand, hug you, and tell you, I'm thankful for you because you got me through it. You couldn't know that you were portraying my life on film specifically. You were living your own damn life and going through similar shit at the time. That's why Crown Royal resonated so much with me. That's why Queen Latifah, I rock with her. She's kind of like where the industry started the split of me. You've got Khadijah, the magazine owner. I wanted to own a magazine for women. You got Max, the attorney. I would have gone to law school had I not chosen to do music theory in school and then become a mother. You got Khadijah again, who is in the industry by way of what her magazine does. You've got Sinclair, who is Sinclair, and she loves the shit out of Overton. My parents just got that part wrong. They thought I loved the shit out of my ex-husband when he was stalking me. He just wanted to have children. He just wanted a legacy. And then when our eldest son, because he made me give him that name, it was like, I'll buy you a brand new vehicle. I was like, bro, I'm stuck to you at this point. So, like trying to wash the starch off of rice. It's always sticky, like grits. I just never threw that shit on him. I ate the bullshit, and now I'm here. Now we're here. At a point in history where I can tell the truth in such a way that it saves lives more than just mine. So that's why I've been 40 miles behind enemy lines, keeping up the fight. Children of Scientology, people who are stuck in the occult, they don't recognize it. They were born in it. It's a way of life. It's not a business. It's like being an American. There are Americans who don't know that they were born into the occult. They're just American until they find out that they've been raised in a dysfunctional way, taught to view the world through a skewed lens where you can't trust authority figures, where you're afraid to speak your truth, where grown people fall on the floor and pick up rice out of fear of their secrets coming in, not out of a punishment, so to speak. The games people play when they're in monogamous relationships. That's something that people should talk more about and maybe help people understand the difference. I had no intentions of speaking for almost an hour. It just kind of happened that way. Anyway, that's why I went to God. At 13, my best friend was ostracized for getting pregnant by a boy, not a grown man, a boy. And her parents put her in and shamed her in front of everybody. I hated the church. I loved God. So I walked away from, at 18 is when I walked away from the church. I became a member of the 5%. And then I studied Islam for a while. And then I landed on my own understanding that it's as simple as loving man the way that God loved us. There's no other commandment. He did give his only son just once, though. We martyr him every so that we don't have to admit our sins. And when we can't martyr Jesus anymore, we turn to the devil. And when the devil doesn't work, that's when we go to God. And we say, God, why me? Well, remember when I told you not to martyr my son? Remember when I told you not to listen to Lucifer? Remember when I said this and now you want to ask me some questions? You're going to have to get to the back of the line. I got people who've always been faithful. They're favored. Favor's not fair. Do you know what they went through to get here? They waited patiently for me, to provide their basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. Because you did not provide for the least of us. Because you thought it would never be you. So here you are, having to go through it when you otherwise would, had you just committed to do harm. You can even say the least harm. You're a Scientologist, so you're held to a higher standard as some type of medical arm of science, so to speak. Science used to be about laws, and now it's about these. And that's got a lot to do with Scientology, who says that you shouldn't take drugs and yet benefits off of the money that goes into our taxes, tariffs, and shit. And then you take it and you pocket it and you put it into buildings that you use to torture people. You're no different than what you say the president is, or you're the thing that made the president, or you've been forcing it upon the entire country, and the people are just now seeing that you were behind this thing the entire time, along with other so called secret organizations who wanted to secretly run the world. Now you see. Yeah. Let me get up out of here. My headphones are dying, and I don't know. I'd rather watch some YouTube before I make it my next move. Sucks to be you because I'm not mad. This is information that the people can use, and it's needed to. It's time. Keep spirit.